All right.
Yes.
Hey, everyone. First of all, happy Labor Day
Happy
weekend.
Labor Day weekend, yes.
Don't really know how many people are like home right now, but we still love to introduce an exciting show today for everybody who is stuck at home.
Yeah, the best thing to do would probably be to barbecue and watch us at the same time.
Yeah, so...
Sounds safe.
Yeah, definitely. Before we get started, we have to announce the raffle winner for Team Bluefish Games.
That's from episode 9, but this is our episode 11 of Behind Our Masterminds now. 11. It's been a great run so far. And let's see how who's the lucky winner.
Yeah, you are winning the
copy of the Curious Elevator and Curious Stairs. Both games very, very...
Yeah, make sure you play them in order though. Elevator, then stairs. Yeah.
Ooh, all right, let's see who the winner is. All right, we have a winner, and it's Melinda Contreras.
Congratulations, Melinda! Yes.
Please contact us.
Right. Yeah, let us know your contact information, and this way, or contact us, and we'll know your contact information, and then we can definitely tell you how you can get your prize.
For sure. All right, so today we have, we were supposed to have 2 lovely ladies, but we have 1 for now.
We have half of Wild Optimists.
Yes, and Ariel is online with us, and hopefully Juliana will be able to join in later.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's unfortunately stuck in a traffic jam.
All right, so we're gonna start by introducing them first.
Yeah.
These 2 incredibly smart and talented ladies. They're design puzzles and games from all varieties of platforms, including tabletop games, live events, historical sites, marketing activations. I'm like, what are they?
I know.
But they're best known for creating the Escape Room in a Box, which we played before, Werewolf Experiment.
Amazing game.
Thank you.
The newest one, which is the Flashback.
Flashback was the second one, right?
Yes, and then recently they did Hello Neighbor, the secret party game. And then also the recent one we played, which is Vampire.Pizza.
Vampire.Pizza is so much fun.
That?
For marketing purposes, is it Vampire.Pizza or is it Vampire.Pizza or like?
I think it's Vampire.Pizza. So you can just type in. Who knew you could do this? I thought everything had to have B.com, but it turns out you can do just Vampire. Well, in this case, Vampire.Pizza, and that's the entire. It's the entire website. Very easy to remember, and then you get pizza and a vampire game.
And then before we start, we even started playing escape rooms. I feel like that was when we were introduced to the Escape Room in a Box.
Yeah, because we played a lot of tabletop games that were escape room related. Yeah. But then when we came across Escape Room in a Box,
first one.
Werewolf, I think it's also because we got to physically touch locks sort of like at home. Within a board game or a tabletop game, and that was just very cool. Yeah. Not only that, just the puzzles, the storyline, everything really was well put together.
Yeah, so it was a really exciting time because we didn't realize that there's actually box games, puzzle games that we can play at home for escape rooms. Because that's when we first started getting into it. So it was like, oh my god, so exciting.
Well, it was the first one, so you probably got it right at the beginning.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But we're so all today to also be meeting the actual creators of these games.
A little bit starstruck right now.
Yeah.
Very sweet.
So then, without further ado, let's get into the exciting show today. Our first question is: how was Wild Optimists born? It's such a unique name. Is there a backstory to this?
Yeah.
Well, so originally we were called Escape Room in a Box because we created the Escape Room in a Box game, and it was the first one, as I mentioned. So when we were creating, we were escape room enthusiasts. That is our background, among other things. But we decided to create Escape Room in a Box, and we wanted to name it something very obvious so everyone would know what it was. Hence, Escape Room in a Box. It says it all right there. And that was our company name. And then we went on Kickstarter. It did very well, and Mattel wanted to buy it, and they also bought the name Escape Room in a Box. So that couldn't be our company anymore.
Right.
And we were trying to figure out what it should be. And, there was a lot of discussion if it should be something with escape rooms, but we ended up coming to Wild Optimists because really this whole venture has been an exercise in wild optimism. There's, as a first-time game creator, you're told, oh, well, your game isn't going to be successful. It's not, it's not going to happen. just be happy if your friends buy it. But we were successful. It was just wild optimism. And since then, we've been lucky enough and made connections and, done a lot of work to be able to create other types of new games. So, in all the various things that, new types of games at music festivals and historical sites and anywhere else where we think games could add to the experience, which is pretty much anywhere. We have been trying to move games, out into the world, and it's all wild optimism. Right. So that's the company name. It's just, if we think that something would be great, then, and we say that a lot to each other, this is going to be great, which is something our friend Jason says.
That's the optimism. That's
the optimism. It's going to be great.
I feel like that's what's so needed right now.
Yeah.
So that's such a great name for the current situation.
Yeah.
Yes. I have to say, the current situation has definitely tested my optimism, but not in terms of work, luckily.
Right.
Nice.
I actually have a question. So you did Werewolf Edition, and then Mattel came into the picture,
yes.
right? Or did you do Werewolf and then do Flashback, and then Mattel came in, or were they like right in between?
They were in between. So Brian Yu, who's the head of game development at Mattel, is an incredible person and really, really into escape rooms, and he was actually one of our backers of the Kickstarter. Okay. So we were talking with Mattel even before the Kickstarter was over, even though we couldn't announce it yet. So they came in between, and then, Escape Room in a Box did take time to develop, and when you're developing games for a big company and they're trying to get it on the shelves at like Target sets their plans like a year in advance or more. So they wanted something else to come out in the Escape Room in a Box line. Mattel did fairly quickly so that we didn't lose steam.
Right.
And so we came up with Flashback. They actually gave us a box. This is very cool. They gave us a box of all of the plastic pieces from all of their other games. So we could use anything that we had used in Escape Room in a Box, but also like there's an egg in it, and that's from one of their games that has a bunch of like little plastic eggs. And if anyone has played Blocus, there's Blocus pieces in Escape Room in a Box Flashback. So they just gave us this box of plastic pieces, and they were like, this is what we can make fast, because we already have the factory set up to make these plastic pieces. What puzzles can you make out of them? And so Flashback was created out of these things that we knew could be produced quickly, so that we could get the game out as quickly as possible to keep feeding this thing, because again, at the time there weren't any other we were the first tabletop escape room game at all, but there certainly weren't any other mass market ones.
Right.
And as is the way in the entire escape room industry, it's the more games there are, the more people buy the games. So it was really good that a bunch of other tabletop escape room games came out between Werewolf Experiment and Flashback, because it kept people buying games, so that by the time we got to Flashback, no one had like forgotten about the genre.
Yeah, it kept the interest going.
Also, I can't play my own games, and I love escape room games, so I'm very, very happy at all the games that come out.
That's funny. Actually, that brings me to the next question, because I'm assuming you're fans of escape rooms, since the first game you created is related to escape rooms.
Yeah.
And at the time, was there a lot of competition? Because I know you said that, at the time there wasn't really any tabletop, but did you guys come out before Thames and Cosmos exit the game, and or Osmole's like unlocked? So you were like really the first ones on the market for any
we were 100% the first ones on the market. When we asked people for reviews, and this includes David and Lisa from Escape Room Artists, and and a bunch of tabletop escape room people, David and Lisa are very good friends of ours, and it's because I think we have so much mutual admiration for each other. But this came out of us emailing them and saying, hey, will you review our game? And they were like, hey, this is a terrible idea. Tabletop escape room games, like, you can't do that. And they weren't the only ones. We got that from a lot of tabletop, just tabletop game people also. Joel Eddy at Drive Through Review, who was also one of our biggest supporters. Like, well, I like escape rooms. I don't normally look at Kickstarter, so I'll take a look at this, but I don't know. Like, you can't do this you can't. Escape rooms are a thing. Like, they're a thing you walk into. They're not on a table.
Right.
But people got our game, and I think because we came at it from a place of being enthusiasts. We wanted those real locks. We wanted searches. We wanted physical things that people could interact with, and puzzles that you could do, no matter how your brain worked. If your brain works more physically or is better with words, we wanted puzzles for all different types of people. We were thinking about, like, what do we love in escape rooms? So I think people really responded to that and really loved the game. Mm-hmm. And then we came out, and I will say, I believe the next game on the market after ours, which did hit shelves before ours because we were Kickstarter and manufacturing it ourselves, was actually Think Fun. Think Fun, thank you. I'm like blanking on the second word. It was Think Fun's first game. So they were almost definitely developing it at the same time as we were, but we were first to market. We were the first one anyone had heard of. And then their game was announced while our Kickstarter was running.
So it's kind of like, it had a little overlap, but you guys were the first one to really put it out there as an idea of doing games at home. Well, here's a fun fact for you and for everyone else. When we visited David and Lisa, we were actually playing a board game at their house. And then when we walked into the living room, the first thing we saw was Werewolf Edition on their shelves of games. And we're like, hey, we just finished playing that one. So we both acknowledged that we finished playing that game at the same time.
We only played that one.
Yeah, that one.
And then I was like, okay, out of all these games, we recognize that one.
Right, because I think it was maybe our second or third game playing tabletop games ever was with David and Lisa.
Oh, how fun!
Yeah.
But that was a game that kind of got us also interested in the box games, like playing at home, because we were like, we never thought we could enjoy them like as a real escape room kind of feel, just like you said, like being at home and not being in an actual room, like touching the lock was definitely important because they really draw us.
We also never thought that we can do like, oh, it's 3 a.m. I want to play an escape room. Oh, let's go to the dining room table. Now we can do it at home anytime we want, and it's definitely more convenient.
So going back to what you were saying about before the flashback with the concept that's sort of different from the other game designers that we talked to, is more about, or you already have the pieces that you're going to be including in the game. Now you have to think backwards, like how can I include these into the into puzzles? So your creativity comes sort of in a reverse way. Do you plan the puzzles with a storyline in mind, or how does that work?
Yeah, what is your normal process when you do that?
We always, and with Flashback too, every game we've ever done, we start with the narrative. So with Werewolf Experiment might be the one exception where we did come up with a list of all the puzzles we'd ever played in escape rooms first, but then we did the narrative and said, okay, so we're going to do this mad scientist lab. What puzzles narratively make sense in a mad scientist laboratory? Or we were recently what were we coming up with puzzles for? Oh, we were coming up with puzzles for something that was going to be virtual because, of course, we're doing a number of virtual games right now for marketing activations and that kind of thing because of the world we're all in. And so we're like, okay, well, if people are in front of their computers, what makes sense? We're not going to be able to convince somebody that they're actually in a castle somewhere. Mm-hmm. We can convince them that they're hacking into things. So maybe we do a hacker storyline because that makes sense. Okay, so if we're doing a hacker storyline, what kind of puzzles make sense? Well, maybe we do something with binary, or we do something with wires, right? Because I think the way to make games feel organic and immersive, and I think something that has come about since we started this. Noah Nelson, started NoPro right at around the same time as Escape Room started, and Lisa and David started. So we were all sort of contemporary. The immersive theater scene has just exploded and is really incredible. And these things that I feel come about at the same time, both immersive gaming and immersive theater, and are interlocking in a lot of ways. So we try to think about that. How can we be immersive even when we're inside somebody's house? Yeah. Which, with Werewolf Experiment, right, you're not locked in a room, there's a poison, and you're trying to find the antidote. Because we were never going to be able to convince people that you're locked in your living room. You're not locked in your living room. You are aware that you can walk out the door. Mm-hmm. So it always starts with the narrative, and then it's, okay, from all the puzzles we have and all the puzzles we kind of want to do right now, which of these puzzles would organically, thematically make sense within this narrative that we have?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
What would you say, like, one tip you can give to game creators out there? Wait 1 second. By the way, if anyone has any questions,
feel free to chime in.
Yeah, so we'll put them in as we see them come through the chat. Yeah. So going back to my question, what would you say one secret tip? I mean, you don't want to reveal all your secrets, but just maybe one that can make their game design or life easier with
well, first of all, I'm perfectly happy to reveal all secrets. The more good games out there, the more good games I get to play.
Right.
Really. Yes, I think, as many great tabletop games as can be out there should be, and if people can create games, if people take what I say and then create something better, that only makes me up my game. Nice. So really, I'm perfectly happy to say anything. And if this is a puzzle design question specifically, we actually, for Renegade Con, we did a puzzle design workshop online, and you can stream that. I think you can find it on YouTube. It should be Renegade Con and our names and puzzle design workshop. But I would say, in terms of designing sort of any type of game, you have to think about like what you're passionate about, like what type of game you want to design or what story you want to tell. We always start with what story you want to tell. So like for Hello Neighbor, which you mentioned, that is not a puzzle game. That's a social deduction game. Right. And that is because if you have played Secret Neighbor, which is the spin-off of Hello Neighbor, it's a video game. Secret Neighbor is a social deduction game. It's a social deduction video game. So you are playing as kids, but one of the people who's playing with you as a kid is actually a neighbor who's like running around behind everyone's backs and like hitting them on the head with a frying pan and trying to take out all of the kids in the group. And this is a video game you can play. And it's your group of friends playing, and whoever the neighbor is looks like a kid. So it wouldn't make sense to do a puzzle game with that. There's no puzzles that anyone's solving. What you're trying to do is figure out which of these kids is the neighbor. That's a social deduction game. That's right. Mafia or Werewolf, right? So we designed a social deduction game for that property and that narrative.
Right.
So the tip is like, start with the story you want to tell and say, okay, what type of game have I played that would tell this story the best? And then play a bunch of games in that genre. Because you don't want to do, like if you're doing social deduction, you don't want to do just Werewolf again. Or if you're doing an escape room game, you don't want to just do, all the same puzzles that you've seen in the other escape room games. Yeah. You want to play everything in the genre and say, well, this is what I like from this game, and this is what I like from this game, and these are some things that I don't really enjoy. What can I do to make them better, or what can I do to get around that?
And
that's a great tip.
Yeah, and then I feel like this is also goes with comments that we give escape room owners too. It's like if you're going to create a best escape room, you should really go out there and play them, because if you don't know who your competitions are, and you just think that you really created an amazing game, but you don't know like what other amazing games are out there. It's really
But it's not even. I don't even think it's just escape rooms. I think it's any type of business that you run is to know your competition. Or do research to see what's out there so you can keep up to date, or like you said, take something that you admire and maybe try to make something better based off of inspiration.
Yeah, and I would even say to get out of the mindset of thinking about it as competition. I think it's more think about what else is out there, because I do think in all of these genres, this is not a zero-sum game. This is a game where the more good things are there, the more there will be an appetite for even more great games. So I think that the more everyone works together and shares ideas, and we are all making each other better, the more the business will thrive as a whole, which is good for all of us.
Yeah, and I think the reason why we say less of a competition is also because it's the same as escape room, where if you played it once, most of the games are not replayable.
Yeah.
So once you're done with that, you would kind of have to kind of recommend other players who have a big appetite. They have to go and find other ones, or else they just don't have. You just can't create fast enough for them.
But the other thing is, if everyone is cross promoting, you're driving business to their company, they're driving it to your company, so now you're getting people from all different types. I think it's just a one thing.
Word of mouth is always the strongest.
Absolutely, especially with the small community that it already is. Now you spread the word to other people outside and within the community. You're raising the awareness of escape rooms, which I believe a lot of people do, which I think is great.
Yeah. All right, so we did, however, played the Vampire.Pizza game recently, and it was a lot of fun.
Oh, thank you.
I was getting hungry playing the game.
Yeah.
Oh man, when I was playtesting that game, and it's like every we're playtesting, at least once a night. I just wanted pizza all the time. It was terrible.
Okay,
and if you go onto the website, Vampire.Pizza, all the information you need is there.
Like the actual development line of the story, right? We even started, I feel like, a secret society. Hashtag fancourt.
Yeah.
And it's a great marketing tool, by the way, because the players definitely get more immersed as characters into the storyline themselves through the identifying with the pack leader. And then there's even like a sort of an avatar choice option, which like vampire do you want to be kind of thing. But most of the genius part about the game is that, the delivery of the pizza, because, no one wants to cook at a puzzle night. So it's really awesome to get rid of that annoying factor. So with the concept of Vampire.Pizza, like, was it one night that you were eating pizza and you're like, let's add vampire to that?
How can we make something, challenging while we're eating pizza that is related to what we're eating?
Well, I had to give credit for the concept to Josh, who is the head of Ravel. He and I believe he came up with it with his partner Chris. So they run Ravel, and they had been looking into doing a location-based entertainment. The pandemic hit, obviously those things go on hold, and they were like, well, people are going to want food, and they're still going to want immersive experiences, so like we should do this. I'm not exactly sure how they came up with vampires, but I'm very glad they did, because I've been obsessed with vampires for a long time. I was like, I'm actually watching Buffy right now for I don't know, maybe like the 5th time. I don't know. It's a little. I know there's so many other good shows I should be watching, and yet I keep going back to Buffy.
Buffy, classic. That's a cult classic. Yeah,
it's so good. And I loved Vampire Max great back in the day. So I was so happy to get to like do my spin on a vampire world and mythology, and try to come up. I think. So Josh and Chris called us and they were like, hey, we have this idea, like, we're going to do the business. Do you guys want to do like the game and the puzzle element? And of course we said yes, because it's such a cool idea.
Yeah.
And so it really gave us this opportunity to think about, again, so you have pizza getting delivered and you have vampires. So what does that look like in a pandemic? And what does that look like in terms of immersion? Because, again, like, I can't tell people, oh, vampires are about to show up at your house. You're probably not going to, like, or whatever it is, or, like, you have to be scared about a hunter. So we thought a lot about how do we create this world where people can feel like they're vampires. So that was what you mentioned is the avatar aspect. We're very into RPGs. So we created... the first thing we did was create sort of a simple character sheet. So everybody could say, okay, if I was a vampire, this is the vampire I would be. And it's a very, like, simplified version of, like, a D&D, Vampire the Masquerade, any of these character sheets. We really tried to look at a bunch of different character sheets, and then also what would work within the storyline, and say, okay, what's sort of the simplest thing we can do to get people a character and to get them into this as quickly as possible. And then it was like, okay, well, now they're a vampire. They can't leave the house. We can't say that they like know a ton of other vampires because they're going to know they don't. So what can we do? And we came up with this idea that vampires have been told that they have to be in hiding because, of course, in the real world, we don't think vampires exist, supposedly, right? or some people do. You can find some very interesting blogs on the internet. But in general, most people don't think vampires exist. So this idea that, oh, there's vampires everywhere, well, we have to come up with a reason for that.
Right.
And we came up with the reasoning being that they've been told that, but it's actually this huge propaganda campaign of, vampires who want to keep the other vampires down. So there's this woman, Belle, who is trying to get the vampires to rise up and stop living in the shadows.
Right.
Except, they mostly have to stay in the shadows because of sunlight issues. But, in general, not be in the shadows. Metaphorically come out of the shadows.
Right. Yeah, I also feel like LA and Cali, there's a huge fan base for vampires, right? Am I wrong? But I feel like every,
more than other places? I'm not sure.
Because every vampire movie that I watch, it's somehow based in LA or it's something I don't know. I always feel like
maybe bigger cities have more chances.
Maybe there's more population of vampires in LA.
I mean, I guess it would be easier to find people to bite and not get caught. I think probably a lot of the movies are based in LA because a lot of the writers are based in LA.
Okay.
Sure. All right. So when we were talking about Fang Force before, they are actually giving away one of the copies of their Vampire games, which we played this. Really awesome. Yeah. The hashtag for the secret phrase is
what is it?
Hashtag Fang Force for life.
It's hashtag Fang Force for life. That's so awesome. Yes.
So if you type that in the comments, you'll be automatically entered into the drawing. But also, if you just type it after even this show is over, because we're gonna have them on YouTube and our IGTV. Then if you type it in there as well, it will also count into the...
from now until episode...
Our next show.
13.
Yeah. All right, so moving on to the next question. To your most recent creation, Hello Neighbor, right?
Yeah.
And
wait, I have the box. Because Juliana told me I was supposed to bring this. So
let's take a look at that.
Ooh, look at how colorful.
Yeah.
I love that, mask dude.
So you do the designs of the puzzles mainly. Right? Who does graphics and stuff like that?
So for this, there's no puzzles in it. It's a card game. It's
Right.
I'm moving my table, but it's cards, and I can show them to you because it ruins nothing because there's no puzzles. But the art is from the video game Hello Neighbor. Oh. So that's entirely Tiny Build, who creates the video game, and then Arcane Wonders took the assets from Tiny Build, and they created the specific art for the game. So, this is the quick start guide. So they incorporated the cool art from the video game, and then did all of these cool all these cool fonts, and they made it look really cool. And then in the video game, keys are a big thing, and they made these I don't know if you can tell. These are very weighty, plastic keys. Yeah. I was really excited when they came.
So, is this the only game that you designed that's not really focused on puzzle aspect, but more on the like auto puzzles or whatever, but more on deduction, really focused just on one type? Because I know all your other games are incorporating a lot of different styles.
So this is the game that we have out on the shelves currently. That is not a puzzle game.
Okay.
We have a series of mystery games that will be coming out from Renegade in the fall of 2021 that are also, they're somewhere in between, I would say, actually. They're kind of our take on old murder mysteries or something. So they have some puzzles, but they're also deduction.
Okay. Should we ask the question that everybody wants to know?
The future of Wild Optimists. That's my final question now.
I know, but she's already giving us a hint into the future. Is there any other new projects along the way?
There's always a lot that we can't talk about. Let's see. You know what? Our goal, our mission statement is to constantly create new ways to play. And there's a lot of new fun things coming up. I think the thing that's coming next is at the Santa Monica Pier. We've developed an app with a company called Live It, and also in partnership with the Santa Monica Pier. and that is a historical tour of the pier, but told through puzzles. Wow. So you get 12 like really remarkable, cool facts about the pier that you discover yourself by doing puzzles that we've installed on the pier, and it's really great. We started doing this a little while ago, actually, but I think it happened to come at really just the right time, because this is something that you can do with your pod of people, with your family, and so you can have an experience that is outside, but also socially distanced, because it's on your device. You download it, and you walk around the pier, and you see these puzzles that we've installed, which a lot of them are quite like beautiful art pieces too.
Oh, okay.
So everyone
walking tour.
Right. We've been there. Everybody can play at the same time. It's not like you have to book a certain slot. Everyone's just doing it at the same. Oh, that's really cool.
And when is that coming out, you said?
Really soon. We just had a big marketing call with the pier about it yesterday. We're installing the final things. So I think we're hoping by the middle of this month, end of this month. I don't want to give an exact date, because there's always like, well, what if it gets held up in the Apple Store for an extra day, or what if when we're installing this thing, it turns out there's some reason it's going to take longer, but quite soon. And I think we're all really excited to come out with this puzzle game. And yes, and it's a walking tour, but normally when you do a walking tour, you have to be with a big group of people. They're quite expensive. They're like $40 a person or something generally. And sometimes they're a bit boring if you don't get the right person.
Right.
You get someone who goes on a lot, which I guess I am right now. But this is, you can play it yourself. I think it's going to be $20 for the game. You can, it's for the whole family. Mm-hmm. It's on your device. You can do it on your own time. It's about an hour's worth of puzzles and wandering around the pier, and you learn really cool things. The pier has a really fantastic history.
Yeah, and also I guess for the creators out there, I know you started with Kickstarter on all your games, and there are
just a Werewolf Experiment.
Just on Werewolf, and everything else was after that was picked up by the publishers like themselves and worked.
Yeah, we sold directly to publishers, was developed, or we got hired for a project, and the project was developed with them.
So do you like this type of, because you said when you are publishing yourself, you have a lot more control over the games, and you're able to nitpick and little things and make it perfect. Any kind of difference in working with these bigger companies in terms of what you can control, and do you get frustrated on those things, or do you actually prefer this kind of process?
Oh, so 100% I prefer working, if
Sorry. I wanted to bring you in.
I'm sorry. It was a comedy of errors this morning, but I'm here now.
Yay! So the question was, Juliana, do we prefer working with a publisher where we might have less control, but where we have less control, or working by ourselves where we have total control? And the answer is I prefer working with a publisher 100%, because sure, I don't have control over the art, which frankly, the publisher is better able to do anyway. They have better artists, but also I don't have to manufacture the game. Juliana and I lost a year manufacturing Escape Room in a Box, the Werewolf Experiment, and it was a fantastic learning experience, and I think that has really helped our design since then, but I never want to manufacture a game again.
Yeah,
it's designing is better.
We're very collaborative, and we love working with the publishers and hearing, what their opinions are, and seeing, they have a wealth of experience that is different from our experience. So we come to it from saying, in terms of a puzzle design standpoint, in terms of a game design standpoint, but, then they come to it with saying in terms of a manufacturing standpoint and the marketing standpoint. And so we love having that kind of meeting of the minds with the publisher.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. Did you guys have to reach out to them, or are you just so lucky that all of them want your games and all reach out to you?
The Kickstarter, we were very fortunate in that the head of the Mattel games design team, he actually was one of our original Kickstarter backers. The games design team at Mattel is fantastic, and they're all over Kickstarter, and they always want to see what's new and exciting. And then amazingly, they're in El Segundo, which is 45 minutes from us or less. So we were able to meet with them in person, and they're just such a fantastic fit. And then all of the publishers since then, it's just been a collection of, meeting people through the industry or going to conventions doing interviews, stuff like that, where we've kind of managed to make this really wonderful network of amazing publishers. And so as we're designing a game, we'll be like, oh, who this would be really great for? Like, let's go to these people first because we think they'll be the best fit.
Wow.
And I think we should give a shout out here to Joe LaFave, who at Genuine Entertainment, who has been kind of a mentor for us and also introduced us to a lot of different people and has really been a cheerleader for us in our games. So he's been a big help in developing our network and in helping us, figure out like how to not structure ourselves, how to position ourselves to sell our games.
Does designing games become easier for you both? Or
Because you've done so many.
yeah, or is it harder?
Or are you running out of puzzles? At this point.
There's always more puzzles to be had.
Yeah.
You look around, there's always something that's
There's always something that's so puzzly, and the market is exploding so beautifully that there's all these different games to play, and I find that's a huge source of inspiration, is playing other people's games and saying, what if we took this idea but then we put this mechanic in, or we changed it in this way and made it something different, or where you're playing a game and you think, oh, I think this is the puzzle, and then you're wrong, they wanted you to do something else, but you're like, that thing that I thought was the puzzle, I should make a puzzle like that.
Yeah. So you guys think it's easier now, or difficulty levels of creating a game were kind of still similar to before, or actually harder?
I think, I don't know if it's, I guess for me, there's some mistakes we don't make as often, or some things we can say, people don't read. That's a thing. People do not read. If you put a lot of text in it, people aren't going to read it. So there's stuff like that we aren't, sort of making the same mistake twice. But I don't know that it has necessarily gotten easier, because I think for Juliana and I, and tell me if I'm wrong, but we want to push ourselves. So, as I said, we're trying to create new ways to play, which means we're constantly trying to create new things that we haven't created before. It gets a bit boring to create the same game over and over. Right. So as we're saying, okay, well, we're designing a different type of escape room in a box, and now it's going to have this totally different mechanic than we've ever done in our other ones. How do we do that? So we're always sort of constantly trying to dream up new things. It makes it a bit more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's so true.
Well, they're not necessarily questions, but there are some viewers that are chiming in. Angela Lawson Scott from Kraken Nut is in here, and hi Angela, and also Michelle from Society of Curiosities, and Bluefish Games is actually in here. So
yeah,
hi guys.
I'm sure you guys played all their games.
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
Although I'll be honest, the Curious Stares are sitting on my desk, and they're just taunting me because I loved Elevator so much, and I'm like, but I want to be able to really sit down and savor it, and we've been insane these past few weeks.
It was a little bit more challenging than Elevator. I think so.
But from a imaginative 3D world.
Yeah.
Anymore.
And we should say that earlier I was talking about how happy I was at all of the different boxes that have been coming out, because it means we get to play, and Bluefish Games and Society of Curiosities are definitely on that list. As well as not currently in the chat, but I'll forgive them one day. Rita Orlov's games, Isle of Emeralds is the latest one, but Tale of Ord, and Juliana. I'm so bad at all the names. There's so many great ones, and it's just been so exciting and wonderful to get to play them all, especially now when we can't go out and play other games.
I'm sure you both have a closet stacked full of games at home too somewhere, right?
Oh, it's worse than that though, because we have the closet stack, and then because we can't see each other right now, we'll do drop-offs at each other's house, and Juliana will come with a crate that she just puts on the porch, and I'm just like, oh, but there's so many I still haven't played.
Bluefish actually wants to know, what is your favorite board game? This could take a while, but what is your favorite?
That's my next question.
Oh, Anna or Ace, whichever one is on right now. You're stealing our questions.
What genre? Because it's like there's party games and there's heavy strategy games and there's social deduction games, and I feel like it's apples to oranges
or apples to apples. Sorry. I know. Wait, there's a history. There's a history in here.
Okay.
Juliana and I both had the same favorite game as a kid, which was Clue. We have learned this, which is very much the precursor to escape rooms. And then we met over a game of Werewolf. So that is a great game. We'll always have a special place in our hearts. And if you ever play Juliana as the werewolf.
It's mostly true.
She's finally started admitting it. It's statistically impossible how often she's the werewolf. And then we used to do a lot of game nights, and I would say like Pandemic Legacy was a game that for a long time just like truly held our attention and was so innovative and had so many wonderful things about it. Also, we're incredibly competitive. And my husband won't play with us if we're playing a competitive game. So cooperative games were really good.
I feel like you guys learned that the hard way.
Maybe.
There's no like Catan in the house, like or someone else.
There was Catan in the house.
Oh, Catan was big in the house.
I mean, on Ariel's birthday, she declared Catan because it was her birthday, and she was able to be like, "No, it's Catan time."
I was incredibly drunk, and I still won. Just for the record.
That's the secret. Our friend was with us, and he was drunk too. And
he was like strategizing, like he was being very creative.
He was like stealing from the wife, and the wife was like, "No, you're off to the couch tonight."
Yeah, couch tonight.
Like that game was visually what we saw was the most brutal in terms of like.
I was like, it's just a game, guys. It's like, no, it's Catan. All right.
Oh no, it's not just a game.
Yeah.
Your friend is absolutely right. And then now with now we're playing a lot of two-player games. Obviously, I think the puzzle games, all the different escape room games are really great. And then other I'm trying to think, like tabletop genre. I still love Scythe. Scythe is great at two-player.
A two-player like Azul has been really fun. Sagrada lately, been doing a lot of that. Spirits of the Wild is actually one of the designers we work with at Mattel. It is specifically designed to be a two-player game, and it's a two-player strategy game, and it's just like lovely and well-designed and definitely.
But it's not for sale anymore, is it? I think
I'm sure you can find anything on Amazon.
One copy.
That is a lovely game.
Thanks. You just boosted the price on that one. It's his price.
All right. So I guess like most of the time it's just a two-person team in terms of designing all the puzzle aspect of it. Do you guys each have a specialty in terms of who's good at what type of puzzle and or like which one does what? Like it's already separated in terms of duties, or does it really just everything's mixed together?
I think the two of us both love the puzzle design and the narrative. So we work together on that. Ariel, you can tell me if you disagree, but I think on the whole, Ariel does a bit more of the narrative construction. I do a bit more of the puzzle construction. And then Ariel does all of our like visual mock-ups, prototypes, making everything look beautiful. I do all the like day-to-day running of the business, like emailing, logistics, stuff like that, invoicing. So yeah, the puzzle and narrative is shared, but slightly more Ariel on narrative, slightly more me on puzzle.
Yeah. Right. And for those who are watching, if you didn't get a chance to yet, type in hashtag FangForce for life, number 4, don't spell out 4, number 4, and you will automatically be entered into the raffle for Vampire.Pizza, and we'll announce the winner in episode 13.
Yeah. And also, like, out of, like, this is going to be difficult, but then just the current games-wise, there's a few of these people in the room right now, but like, is there like a favorite? Or just a favorite type of puzzle, design wise that you guys like?
Or something that stood out that was like, you had an aha moment, like ooh.
So this isn't out yet, but we got to play test one of Rita's puzzles of the Emerald Flame, and it was like beautiful and layered and had multiple ahas, and it was a style that I hadn't seen before, like did things that I hadn't seen before, and I was just like, wow. Like it came together in such a beautiful way.
Yeah. That was awesome. That's not where I thought you were going. That was an awesome puzzle, though. It's just that the Kickstarter's in it. But there's a Kickstarter that's going to be coming out September 24th that we got to play test, which is the creators at Hatch Escape Rooms, who do Lab Rat, are going to be doing a Kickstarter for the first, like, I think it's the first box planned of many, and it's the story of Mary Wollstonecraft, who wrote, Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley, who wrote Frankenstein. It's called, I think it's going to be called Mother of Frankenstein. It is beautiful, and it's incredibly narrative, and they have some very physical puzzles planned. And I would say that sort of overall, that's what I really respond to in at-home games, is when there's beautiful physical pieces to play with. And this game is going to be, Lab Rat, as I'm sure everyone knows, is one of the top 100 games, I believe, right on the top 10. Yeah. It blew my mind when I played it, and I'm just so sad that Ladder isn't like open already, because I really want to play it. But this is to hold us over, and the first box that I got to play was so much fun, and I'm really looking forward to seeing. They sent us a prototype, which I need to open. But I'm really looking forward to like the whole thing.
Sent the full.
Yes, they sent. So we played like a really early version, and then they sent us, the more manufactured version.
Gotcha.
Like, even though like in this COVID period of time, everything else is kind of sad and stuff, but I feel like the creativity definitely came out of it, because you're actually seeing like escape rooms now creating tabletop games, like Dark Park, right, in the Netherlands.
Yes, we haven't had a chance to play that one yet. Have you played it?
No, we haven't either.
Yeah, not
but
yet.
I mean, we keep also hearing about it, and everyone's talking about the Witchery one, which is the really good one out of the two. But I think it's really great to see that they're coming out with concepts outside of escape rooms, but still, be able to contain that like narrative part of the game, which we really love.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm already intrigued by the Frankenstein one, just because of I already can sense that it's dark, it's deep, it's like
especially coming from like such a strong admirable like company with these writers coming from the actual novel itself. Oh my gosh. Can't wait. Also, for the other table tops you guys mentioned before, I know we spoke a little bit with Ariel about the life events and historical site tours and things like that. What are the categories under PR marketing activations? What is that you guys do?
I actually have one of those.
Oh, cool.
You told me to bring things, Juliana.
I'm so glad you brought all the things, or some of the things.
I brought some of the things. I brought the things that were easy to reach.
Yeah, that are easy to pack.
Yeah. This is our invisible. You talk about it, and I'll just display it.
Show how pretty it is. So we work with film and television shows, because puzzles are a fantastic way to engage your audience and make people feel like they're really a part of the brand in a way that they wouldn't be if it was just like, hey, here's a t-shirt, from the movie. So our first opportunity, which makes sense, was with the Escape Room movie that came out from Sony. So we actually designed a escape room in a box, but it was only for press and influencers. So that was really fun, because they had essentially signed away their life, and we were only making 50 of them. So it was basically like, here's everything we can't do in a mass market game, and there's like fire, and there's tearing things up and destroying them, and all of that good stuff. So we got to do that, and then we've worked with Prodigal Son. They wanted to do social media puzzles to engage their audience, because Malcolm Bright is kind of always figuring out his own puzzles in his head, so giving the audience a chance to be a part of that. And then recently we did that lovely Invisible Man activity book from the movie. and Nancy Drew. People can actually play the CW's Nancy Drew if you go to. Thank you. If you go to nancydrewatxquest.com. There is a free little, mini, very light puzzle quest there. That was a lot of fun because we got to work with the cast on that and actually talk to the showrunners about the narrative. So it was a great experience.
I love how TV and movies are recognizing escape room industries for like their creativity and doing some sort of collaboration, like Hannah with the escape game, and I just think there's so much potential.
And
there.
then the recent one that we have that we just opened from the Saw.
One day, die one day, or
one day, one die.
Oh, one day die.
One day die. Yeah.
So everyone's talking about very different experiences right now in terms of which emails they got, or, like they're in the secret like chat room. Yeah. So it's like really good to like create these little groups and societies like within like a huge picture, and then there's already like a following before the game actually finishes, which is really awesome. We love that.
Yeah.
I love the breadcrumb trails leading to the bigger picture. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah. So with that said, we are going to our next segment, which is the most exciting. And since you played so many games that you cannot remember, this might be difficult for you.
Yeah.
And might be a segment.
We're going to play.
Eat or drink.
Take a drink.
Okay, so this isn't.
I'm going to let Ariel talk about
this is a silly whiskey. So, does anyone get this? Anyone? Comments? No?
Gus and Brew?
No.
Gus and Brew?
Yes.
Gus and Brew.
I'll wait and see if anyone gets. Okay, it's a reference to a show called Letterkenny, which is very funny if no one's watched it.
I've got monkey shoulder.
Ooh.
It's like whiskey that's a little bit sweet, so
monkey shoulder's
good for my
Only
sweet
a
tooth.
little bit? Where are you? Where's
Only-
the alien that's possessing Juliana?
Well, I didn't have time to make a full craft cocktail. As I said, it was a bit of a disaster of a day.
Nice.
We're actually not in our apartment, and we're remote right now, so I don't have access to our whiskey or bourbon collection. So I had to improvise.
Excuses.
No, I did. No. It's not by choice, okay? High Noon, Sun Sips, vodka and soda, black cherry made with real juice.
All right.
Okay, so
Black cherry.
That sounds very fancy.
who knows? All right, so before we get into this, you'll see the secret phrase scrolling at the bottom. Remember to type in #FangForce4Life, and you'll be entered into the raffle. And we play Think or Drink by asking our guests questions on their own games, or just it could be
This
random
one is
knowledge.
going to be only on Vampire.Pizza.
On Vampire.Pizza.
We only played that recently.
It's recent. Good.
All right, so if we have the time on the clock.
Yes. Hold on, I'm gonna open this.
Oh yeah.
All right,
I thought you were so confident that you're not even gonna open it. But sure.
So we give them 10 seconds
All right.
on the clock. Again, I told you we're working remotely, so we're gonna do it this way. From the time that we asked the question.
Yeah.
Okay, so
question number 1. In the criminal photos that you have in the game, what's Natasha's last name?
Preble.
wait,
Which
this
one?
thing isn't working.
It's the same.
It's Preble.
Yeah.
After Andrew, who owns Escape My Room in New Orleans.
And who I believe pronounces it Preble, but we should check with him.
Oh, I'm sure he does. I'm the worst at pronouncing things.
Okay.
I'm sure you're right. I can spell. I can't pronounce.
Characters in there are all sort of kind of giving some kind of name recognition.
Natasha's my cousin. Yeah.
Nice.
We'll be back. We got to rewrite some of these questions. So I'm gonna let you know that this thing is pretty strong. It's vodka.
Strong and delicious.
Whiskey, what are you complaining about?
I'd rather drink whiskey.
This is cask strength whiskey, my friends.
Yeah,
It was supposed to have an ice cube.
Well, it has water.
Yeah.
I kind of drank the water because I forgot to bring in my water glass.
She's like, I'm fully doing the.
All right.
All right. This one might be a little difficult because we want to ease you in. But how many letters are on that pizza pie? That circle.
Oh.
We have to count.
5? It's 5?
Done.
Oh, on the
Final answer.
It's a lot more.
On the wait, sorry.
Oh wait. No, do you mean the one that's cut into pieces?
With the star. The big.
Oh, with the star. Ooh. Well, it's definitely not 5. It's way more than 5. I'm gonna say
You designed that
12.
one. It's all you.
12.
Pretty close. 14.
Yeah.
Cheers. Second question, guys.
We got 3 more to go and 1 bonus.
Yeah.
So
All right.
Third question. On the newspaper clipping, there's a year that's one of the supporters is proudly supporting Vamp Nightly. Since what year is that?
It should be 1940, right?
No, it was in the 3rd. Well, no. Okay, yeah, it should be in the 40s, but
It ought to be in the 40s.
It probably wasn't because we didn't have that piece worked out yet. I'm
Final
gonna say
answer?
1909.
1622.
Oh yeah, that's a problem.
Far?
I don't know that was in our game design. Just for the record.
That was art design. This whole you were asking about working with the publisher, that was art design.
Definitely art design.
I'll drink
That is
with you on that one.
unfortunately inaccurate.
Because we do know that you guys focus mainly on one side of the creation. So if this was on the other side, we're gonna drink together. I'll drink.
Cheers.
All right. So question number 4.
Yep. Okay. On the homicide unit information report, what date of the week was the body of the 3rd victim found? Narrative side.
It's either Wednesday or Thursday. I'm gonna go with Wednesday.
She got right! Yay! Wednesday or Thursday. 50-50.
Cheers.
Nice. Okay. Number 5. On the same report, this might be easy for you too because I didn't know about this, but who was the reporting officer?
Catherine Yu.
No, Juliana, you're talking about the reporter.
Noah Yu.
The reporting officer, yeah.
Yeah, Noah Yu.
Noah
Yu. Not Catherine.
Yeah.
We named it after 2 people at Everything Immersive, not just one.
So it's Noah Nelson and Catherine Yu.
Yeah.
Ah, okay, so that's where that came from.
And a little bit Brian Yu. Yeah, in case he's watching.
It's like I gotta make sure I cover everybody.
So we do have a bonus question for you.
This was supposed to be one of those, like if they didn't get any right, I was gonna give it.
Do you have a lot left in your cups? Not that you probably won't finish it like throughout the day.
They're gonna puzzle away.
I mean, we both have 2 children and there's a pandemic. I'm pretty sure I'm finishing this.
Okay, so
I've had a morning. Like, you can just keep making up questions.
Nice.
bonus question, and then we finish.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I have, okay. I
ready?
have about half a can, so here we go.
All right. What are the 3 types of vampire you can be?
Ariel, I'll let you take it.
Okay, it's Rebel, Executive, and Artist.
No,
right?
Rebel, Elite, and Artist.
Rebel, Elite, and Artist. Well, the Elite is the Executive type.
Sure.
Give it up for Wild Optimist. All right.
That was good.
Sugar, cherry, black cherry thing.
None of us are gonna do anything later, except for me. I'm so good.
And then we're going to end our show with
A
saying,
little secret that we have for you, or more of a showing our thanks and appreciation for all that you do. But we have a little something that we were creating on our own, and it's
not as pretty, but thank Force for life!
Thank Force.
Oh my god, I love
It looks like the Triforce. That's awesome.
I'm a big Marvel fan, so he's
Yeah.
That is a really powerful vampire.
Thanos. I just need 3 more.
Thank you so much for being
Thank
on the
you
show.
so much.
It was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us. This was awesome.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Give it up for Wild Optimists. And thank you for tuning in to watch episode 11 of Behind the Masterminds. And much like us, to get to learn more about Wild Optimists, Ariel and Juliana.
And stay tuned for episode 12, which is going to be Mobile Escape with their families.
Mobile Escape. Yes. Okay.
Very cool.
Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
3 hits left for me to choose. 2 hits left for me to use. 1 hit left for me to move. Time is running out, gotta figure something out. 3 hits left for me